All right, so I think I'm in the mood for a rant. It all started with my brand new transfer tank from DZ. I filled it up this morning, and I was wondering why there's diesel all over my bed. Brand new tank cracked from here all the way down to here, just glugging out of here. So I'm kind of in the mood for a very long overdue review on the 20 XP. So we're at 619 hours. Usually there's some weird code that pops up, but it does nothing. When these things are new, they burn through DEF like crazy. Be stocked up on DEF. You're gonna probably burn at least a bucket a day, if not more. The clutches, I mean, your first day, I recommend chasing after that clutch torque. Make sure that is on till you get about 50 hours on the machine. Then you're pretty much set and go, and I check that weekly. Belt tension, typical stuff to be checking weekly. You know, they have a little tool gauge you stick in here, and it goes down a certain amount of inches, and that's how you check your belt tension. If you slip this belt once, you're done. Go get another belt, because now you fried it. Now it lacks traction, and it's going to keep on slipping until you blow a belt on the job, which would suck. Biggest thing, these Cummins filters, they come the other way from Cummins. This entire engine cradle assembly is from Cummins. Bandit has nothing to do about them. So I guess we'll just start from the front here. I'm gonna be probably going back and forth. I'll say the biggest thing is their filtration is absolutely stupid. Number one, this entire box is rotated, sucking from the inside here. That's completely just full of dust and dirt and just gizmos everywhere. So first thing you can really do to help your machine not to dust it out is flip your airbox around. And apparently for some reason, they are saying that this can be the fault to an engine failure when their rotational way is extremely incorrect. My long-term goal is to take and remove this entire box and reroute this intake out to the top over here and have a Donaldson topspin filter for this horsepower rating. That is what I need to do. This does an okay job, nowhere near what it needs to be capable of for what this machine deals with. So just to continue on, the Cummins filters that comes in these boxes are absolutely stupid. If you buy a machine, take that filter and throw it away. It's not worth your time or your money, and you go get one of these filters. This one, these are our Donaldson Blues. It's their own patent design. And there's your part number. Okay, so that's the first thing you do with these chippers, is throw away that Cummins filter. The pleating is terrible. Mine cracked within the first week. The actual plastic assembly cracked, so it was weeping dirt through the filter into the secondary, thank goodness. But yeah, those filters are junk, because this entire engine assembly rattles like crazy. And those filters are just trash. And then the way the pleating is on that filter, oh, and this box sucks to clip this on back by hand. I usually use pliers. I literally have these pliers specifically just to put the air filter box back on, because I've folded back a few too many nails from doing this. Again, so this thing does okay. Buy these ones. I'll find the part number, I'll put it below. It's good to have a spare one of these, because the moment this thing goes, this filter does nothing, and you plug this box up immediately, especially depending on what you're chipping. But we'll just stay on the engine house. You know, check your clutch gauge and blah, blah, blah. This thing is not working properly anymore. It had brand new filters, and it's still sucked into red, so I'm going to try to find a new one. They're like 40 bucks for that dang thing, but it's a good indicator. This fill spout, I really wish it was angled up a little bit more. Dumping the 5-6 gallons this motor takes. Yes, it is a 6.7, but this is an industrial 6.7. Look how humongous that oil filter is compared to your regular Cummins motor. Other than things coming loose and hard to keep track of everything coming loose, things fall apart and they just come loose no matter how much you try to pay attention. Make sure things aren't falling off. This tensioner was loose from the very get-go. Every time you went to track, it would squeak and squawk. These bolts came loose off of this. I'll show you that's loose. This has broken twice now. I gotta fix it again, and these have come loose. And then the whole engine cradle rattles like crazy. My biggest beef with this engine crate is their radiator cover. So very, very simple fix. I don't know why it's so hard for them to do this. Number one, their welds suck. They just fall apart and the screen starts flopping around. It keeps on breaking the rest of the screen all the way around, and all of a sudden this whole thing falls off. All you got to do is, I'll have a few photos too, but you guys can see here, see all these bolts? All I did was weld a piece of flat bar on the back and bolt the screen to it. I've never had a problem. There's like 200 hours on this screen and nothing's falling apart. Just like that, you could have had a big easy fix. These Cummins filters, Fleetguard filters, suck because at the end of last season, my filter just blew open on the side. So I literally just finished my last bundle of trees and start tracking to go back to the truck. And what the heck? I've never seen a fuel filter housing explode like that. This entire thing is cracked. Don't know why. It was not really even freezing temps. It was snowing, but this was really warm because I was running the entire day. So I doubt it froze and cracked. And I never had any fuel gelling problems the entire time I was on the job site, so I don't see where anything like that could have happened. So on the Bandit side, your straps are donkey. There's a way better design than you can do this, which I'm going to be doing it myself. These straps, all they do, you can see both of these have been like jimmy rigged by me because these strap tabs bend up, and then the other half the time they crack right here, and you don't realize, and you have your fuel tank almost fall off and whack a tree. I'm gonna show it moving around like crazy. Tie downs are doing their job. And then this, when that back broke, the whole tank fell over, freaking smacked a tree as I was tracking. That was fun, but still working. And then had a bunch of bolts loose on the tracks. I need some bolts. This thing. What I'm going to be doing is building a cradle for this to slip into, having hinges on this side, and then having tensioner clasps right here. So there's consistent tension without bolting this down, so this can move freely and not crack, would be the goal. And you have a very good, solid tie-down platform mount. Not this, what is this, 1/8 inch, maybe 3/16 bent stuff that just cracks and breaks. I mean, and that happened within the first few hundred hours of this machine, to be honest. I think within 200 hours this happened. Here's my fix. So these are actually DOM gussets for rock sliders, or for your actual arms on our crawler. You put these on the DOM tubing and make them beefier so you don't bend them. And this angle gives it a lot more beef and strength so for it not to collapse and crack the way the other ones did. And see, I did the same thing here. This one I tightened down a little bit too much, but this had a little bit more weight. It still collapsed, but there's still tension. Even two other chippers I've seen, still 20 XPs around the same year. This is the newer edition, I think, compared to, like 19 models or something like that. All their fuel tanks are floating because they're not tensioned down. They're kind of just bolted to itself, and then you lose these rubber strips on the bottom, and this entire thing, this entire tank was floating. And I didn't realize that, and I almost wore a hole through the main feed line for the hydraulic tank. How much would that suck to blow a hole through a tube like that? I did have a bad crimp on the manifold there. I have to fix that. That's why I've been washing everything, trying to get the oil and the grease out of here. I did have a few bleeding off issues with the tip of the chute here. It's like, it's annoying, but it's not that big of a deal. My biggest beef with the chute is they could have given this thing just a little bit more throw. Just a little bit more, because there's like a sweet spot with this chute to where this actually works going up and down. But if you're too high or you're too low, the chips just miss the top or they just miss the bottom, so you can, like, you know, toss chips and fly them up a little bit higher or lower. It's not as capable as it could be. Honestly, if I was Bandit, I would say get rid of that chute and then make that a hydraulic line so you can just move this up and down. I would rather go like that, and maybe just have a chute that's manual, or if you wanted to, you can put a diverter valve. That's probably getting a little bit too complicated already, but I doubt it's that big of a deal if you know how to build a machine like this. I haven't had any belt issues, no slipping of the belt. That's why I've been, you know, keeping tabs on that. This radiator screen, I've been meaning to build one that's not just a bug screen, something that's actually worth a dang. I mean, all these little dimples and holes, like one little branch that scrapes across it does that. So, but I mean, they have this super beef guard, but I would want something maybe a little bit stronger. But at the same time, I can understand that this is, you know, it gets rid of the fluff balls, doesn't let that clog up as quickly. Why can't we make these fans reversible? Like, even a manual reversible switch on them somewhere, or on a timer. I'm sure it can't be too hard just to have a little trigger switch somewhere on something like this that's not going to get hurt. Just to have a reverse fan, just to clear these out. And then, I mean, same thing on the actual engine for Cummins. They have electric reversible fans. Oh yeah, we'll stick on this for another section too. They have reversible fans. This machine needs a reversible fan. I mean, I don't care how much more it costs. You know, I don't know how much it would cost. Maybe $4,000 to $5,000. I don't know if that's absurd. Hopefully it is, but I would easily pay that to get this machine set up like that. That would be number one. So number two, with this, going back to the whole radiator issue, why is it that we have a high flow for the engine coolant, but not a high flow cooler for the intercooler? This thing gets plugged up immediately. I mean, that thing takes so much work to keep clean. It plugs up so fast. Why couldn't we just we have a high flow here, and then if it needed the more surface area, just put a larger high flow in the entire front. It's not going to restrict enough airflow into the radiator. There's a way better solution to something like that for a little bit better longevity, not hurting this motor like that. Every single time this chipper was done with work, I didn't have an air compressor until now, thankfully. But I had my leaf blower. I would blow the entire thing off every single day, and still it would have those issues. And I wouldn't mind if you guys like cut out a few holes on the side here just behind the radiator, so if you have a nozzle, you can go in with your air compressor nozzle and blow it out if you have one of the fancy one that has like the 4 bits on the side, and do that on both sides. I mean, make maintenance a little bit easier at like little to no cost. What is it? I mean, a few more seconds of plas table time to cut out that blank. I mean, this is something that Cummins would have to do. I doubt they're going to listen to me, but hopefully Bandit maybe will talk to Cummins about it or something like that. Biggest thing is this whole radiator mesh screen. If you don't have that, you're definitely going to ruin your radiator. I put on my own lights. I got to redo some wiring because they don't work anymore. I think I broke a ground somewhere, so I just got to fix that real quick. It wasn't my best job. Not lately what I've been doing for harnesses, but this was like super, mildly ghetto. But I had one falling off. They got a little bit loose, and none of them work. But I think it's just a ground issue, or they got ripped off somewhere. But yeah, that's kind of like the bulk of it. I saw one of the other 20XPs I was running last year. Make sure these pins are in these spring tubes, because theirs popped out, and when they put the yoke back down, the spring hit this sideways and bent this entire ear down. That sucked. A few things just for convenience is These bearings, I want to build a grease tube line for it to stub out over here so I can just go like this and grease those. Because sometimes when it's really muddy ground or something like that, I don't want to grease it. I know it's my old machine, but still, I'm like, I don't feel like greasing it. Same thing, that one's still okay, but this grease fitting way back in there, you're laying down on the ground. Dump an entire tube on each bearing on the actual drum. I don't care, $14 a day compared to thousands of dollars in labor and bearings. I'll take the $14 of tube of grease. If it even costs that much, I think I'd maybe pay $3 or $4 because I buy so much of that stuff. I mean, I know I'm ranting. As a customer, I think you can say the customer always finds what you didn't do. So I am kind of looking at it that point of view. Don't get me wrong, Bandit, thank you for the machine. You guys have opened up a humongous opportunity for me in business and capabilities, and like, just, this machine kicks butt. Between all the things on this machine, it has only failed me once. And by once, I mean it actually broke down to where it can no longer operate, and that was actually when one of my buddies was using it, of course, and it was relatively new. The lower feed table, tray, roller, the hydraulic motor on the other side, I guess they left it loose. The bolt that the hydraulic motor bolts into for the whole chain drive, however it works, they left the bolt loose, and the keyway stripped itself inside of the entire motor, and I mean just destroyed it. It bent it. But with Cowline Equipment, they're my dealer for the Bandit. I mean, I called them. They're like, what the heck? They got me squared away. I think it was probably in 2 days or something like that. They shipped it out of their Tracy warehouse or their dealership there, got it to Sacramento. Dude, he got that thing squared away. All of a sudden, I didn't even know, because I was on another job, and he fixed it, good to go, ready to roll. So, I mean, I thank you, Cowline, for that. Like, I'll talk a lot of smack. There's a lot of faults, but this is a machine that really does eat itself alive. But there's definitely things that we can improve on to make it better for the next generation of chippers. I mean, we're all about perfecting equipment, right? We want it to be the best possible. I mean, and if something that they can fix with minimal effort, well, I guess I say minimal effort, please give it your full effort. Make sure things are tight. I think it's just going to improve. I think it's going to prove itself. I mean, and this thing impresses so many people. I mean, I'm working with some big dogs. I mean, they have like 600 to like 800 horsepower chippers and grinders. And they're like, I mean, every chip van I've loaded with this thing, the driver goes, oh, that's loading me? I'm like, yeah. Oh, does it go high enough? Or does it shoot far enough? I'm like, yeah, dude, freaking. I mean, first log you throw through that thing, they go, okay, damn, all right, yep, I guess it does good. So it impresses. That 350 horse Cummins, that thing absolutely tosses chips. So, I mean, she eats real good. But again, you know, I appreciate Bandit, I appreciate Cowline. The payments suck. Someday I'll get over it, but this chipper definitely has its ups and downs to where, man, when it's working, life is good. I can breathe. When it sits here, it's suffering. It's very suffering, but you know what? Nothing good comes without taking a challenge, right? So here we are. I've been blessed. I've been thankful. This machine has definitely opened up some new doors and new relationships and new capabilities, so I appreciate them. And yeah, fuel trailer's done for now. So I think rant over. I think that was a okay rant. Like, that is the entire other side of the valley over there. That shadow way back there. I doubt you can see it, but yeah, I had some pretty cool sunsets these days. All right, I think I've been talking for 24 minutes. Well, hopefully I can cut this down after the time we're done. So thanks for watching. I hope that was as boring. This is more of a video for anybody looking at a 20XP or wanted to do or purchase one. There's my 615 or 14, whatever number it was, hour review. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Time for the new one. Upgrade. Wheel. I need 2 hands.
I'm coming in.